Hello everyone, this is Louisa from Ellie Paper Studio, and today I am doing a product review for the Scrapbook Blessings blog. In addition, I'll be making a box that I promised y'all last week. I did last week for the Scrapbook Blessings blog post. I did a do-it-yourself personalized cards and with a matching box gift set type of project, and in it I did not show how to make the box. I will be doing that today for a very specific reason actually. Today's product review is going to be about cardstocks, the different types that are out there, and my personal opinion on them. Again, that is my personal opinion. I really would love to hear your opinion and what your experience has been with the different types of cardstock. And also, if there's a cardstock brand out there that I forgot to mention or that I may not know of or haven't worked with, please let us know. I'm always out there looking for good quality products specifically for cardstock, which is the blood and veins of our hobby, card making and scrapbooking. So real quickly, I'm going to try to go through the different types of cardstock that I have to show you. I'm going to start out with probably what I use most. This is Michael's Recollections cardstock. It's 65 pounds. And as you can see, 65 pounds, although I try to use for box projects and 3D projects, I try to use 80 pounds and above. Recollections cardstock actually holds up really, really well. This little gift bag here that I made a while ago has withstood the forces of time, and as you can see, I did some dry embossing, which dry embossing stretches the paper. And so when you're doing dry embossing and also folding to create the folds of the box, you're really asking a lot out of your paper. And this one actually held up really, really well. I made this months ago, and it's still, with opening a lot, opening and closing and doing different things with it, it still it's still intact. So very, very pleased with Recollections cardstock. Also very great value. You can probably get it multiple packs for a lot of times they have 3 50 sheet packs for $10. So definitely be on the lookout for those. And also they have them in a lot of colors. Probably not as many colors as some of the other brands, but still a lot of really nice hues to go out there and look for. My second type of go-to type of cardstock is white Georgia Pacific cardstock. Here's the packaging. You can get this at Walmart. It's 110 pounds, and for about $5 you get 150 sheets of 8.5 by 11s. It doesn't get any better than this from a value standpoint. It is super sturdy, great product. On the con side, it has a little bit of a glossy finish to it, so if you want to print invitations or digi stamps or what have you, you typically have to use some hairspray to fix the image to the paper and have it not rub off. And also, because it is so thick, sometimes some printers may have a hard time getting it to feed through them. So great on value, and actually great product for card making. For printing, it may be a little bit trickier. This is actually another type of cardstock from Recollections. I got this. They had the envelopes and the cards. This has it's a silver pearlized effect on one side and just white on the other. Very, very sturdy. These types of papers, I got this on clearance, which I love, because this type of paper, once you emboss it, it creates the most gorgeous effect in my opinion, especially for Christmas projects. Dry embossing on this, beautiful effect. The next type of paper I want to introduce is paper from the Paper Source. I got this, the Paper Store is they sell a lot of different, it's a boutique, they sell a lot of different types of paper, and I believe they manufacture invitations, and you can also buy ribbon and other kinds of crafty little things. It's a very nice store. It's very boutique-y. We are fortunate that here in Dallas, Texas, we have a paper source store that we can actually go to. But if there's not one in your town, you can order this online at papersource.com. This is in my opinion, one of the best papers I've ever encountered. The problem with it is it's very sturdy, it's great. The colors are rich and beautiful. I specifically recommend it for manual die cutting, for spellbinders and very intricate die cuts. Cuts out really round and beautiful. The problem with this paper though is that it's very expensive. This is a 10 pack. So it brings 10 sheets of paper, and I want to say that I paid $5 for this. So a little bit more pricey, and also the drive up to where it is, the mall, if you don't have it, you have to pay for the shipping, and then the drive to where it is, the mall where it is very hectic. It's a very famous mall, so I try to stay away from there if possible. However, very great paper. This is in fact the paper that I will be using to make the box. Also the same type of paper I used to make last week's box. Because it is so sturdy, it is my preferred type of paper to use for 3D projects. Next, I just want to introduce this is from cardstock.com. It's a great website for buying cardstock. I want to say that if your order is above a certain amount, you can get free shipping. They sell tons of different colors, types, pounds of paper. Their business is cardstock, so highly recommended. This is their gold foiled paper. Very gorgeous shimmer, especially when you emboss it. It's gorgeous, the type of results it brings. Very much recommend any of their products. This is from the Astrobrite collection. I got this at Office Max. You can get the big packs for, I want to say I got this for $7. $7.99 actually, so $8. The problem with this specific one is probably more of a user error. I chose the Astrobrites, and those bright colors are very bright. They're not very pleasing to the eye except for one, which is the yellow. They're very sturdy though, so what I use them for is when I'm creating prototypes for boxes. I first make them out in this type of paper just to test them out, to stress the paper out, to see how the fold's gonna cut out, and then I go ahead and use the paper that I really am intending to. This is cardstock from Coordinations. I got this at Joann's. Very good cardstock, great color selection. It's a little bit flimsier, so I use it specifically for scrapbooking. It's a part of their open stock cardstock. Love their colors. On the other side, open stock cardstock is typically a little bit more expensive, and you also have to go through and pull different colors, whereas if you go to like Michael's and you just grab a pack, you know what colors you're getting. So if you need a specific color, is a great product. If you want just a whole pack just so that you can take home and be able to create different projects with, maybe not so much. Also, because of the quantity and so many colors that they have, it can be a little overwhelming. This is Basil cardstock, probably one of the most recognized types of cardstock out there. Great cardstock, great brand, great product. I have only really found it in open stock also, so if again, it can be just as overwhelming because there are so many colors and they all look just a little bit different. So unless you have a specific project that you know that you need a specific color for, it may be a little bit overwhelming. Also, it's a little bit pricey. I want to say that this sheet alone, it's about 49 cents at Michael's, I want to say, and Joann's. So it's a little bit pricier. And again, the whole open stock, you have to pick it out. However, it is great for cutting with Cricut, and the Silhouette Cameo is probably one of the best cardstocks to use. The other thing is, I wouldn't necessarily recommend, they have different types. Basil has different lines. This is their basics. Their basics are textured on one side and a little bit smooth on the other, but still has some ridges. It's a little bit harder to do heat embossing because of the texture of it. So, pros and cons. This is just glitter paper. This is from American Crafts. Glitter paper, if you haven't used it before, is very, very hard and very sturdy. Wouldn't necessarily use it for box creating because it has a backing, so when you fold, it's probably gonna, the paper, it's kind of like folding two pages together. One side's gonna give. So, but still very sturdy, very great for maybe a base or creating or cutting specific things out of it. This is paper also from Walmart. This is from Color Book. This is white, has a white core cardstock. So when you emboss it and you distress it, you get a lot of really neat effects. I can show you a card I made with this. This was a card I made for the Stamp Doctor. And so you can see the distressing, the white core behind it, and you can definitely see it on the edges. You can check that video out at my YouTube channel. But yes, you can, this type of paper, I really only use it for card bases and for distressing. I wouldn't recommend it to feeding it through your Cricut machine or through a Silhouette Cameo, because when the needle is going through it, the blade is going through it, it'll try to rip, and when it rips the color apart, but then it leaves the white behind it. So not the greatest effect. And lastly, this is cardstock from the Paper Studio, which is Hobby Lobby brand. In my personal opinion, I wouldn't recommend this cardstock very much. After I had bought it, I did some research, unfortunately after the fact, but still. And most people out there were not very pleased with this. The quality of this paper is very, very flimsy when you cut it, even just using a regular blade, you know, to cut a straight line. It has some fuzzies, like paper. It's more of like almost like construction paper compacted with a smooth finish. So definitely not the greatest quality. However, what I will say about it is for the price that you can get it's about the same price that you would get a pack at Michael's from Recollections for their full like 100 sheet all colors. However, Hobby Lobby, you get a lot more colors. Let's say the Recollections pack is 100 sheet, this is 100 sheet. The Recollections pack may bring 28 colors, whereas this one brings 40. So the hue span is much greater. So from that end, it's definitely a good product to use. I typically use this for my smaller Cricut cuts, especially the ones that are very layered together, because even if it's flimsy, all the layers of cardstock compacted together will help create something a little bit sturdier. So I hope you enjoy this cardstock review. Again, if there are any types of cardstock out there that I forgot to mention, please let me know. If there's any specific type of cardstock that you recommend, I'd love to hear about it and try it myself. I'm always typically looking for good value on cardstock, good value, good quality, and my biggest thing is color, the color hues, specifically with Christmas coming up. Most people out there will be needing a lot of different greens, different reds, different ivories, different whites, and whatnot. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and grab my Cricut, cut my box out using tacks, bags, boxes, and more. And when we get back, I'm going to put the box together and try to compare a little bit between that and this one using a Recollections cardstock. Okay, so I've gone ahead and cut my layers. Again, this is from the Tags, Backs, Boxes, and More 2 cartridge. I use the recipe box, actually that's the name of the cut. And what I do is that I cut it using Cricut Craft Room, which in my opinion is the easiest thing to do, especially for these kinds of cartridges. What I do is that I layer them on and I play with them in Cricut Craft Room and make them long enough that I know that they're gonna fit. So like I put on the computer, I put these together to make sure that they kind of fit together. And when I you know, measure it by eye, and if they do, then I go ahead and cut them, and I put the score lines and I align them like the picture in the handbook. And I put the score lines in a different layer. So this is layer 1, then there's score lines, layer 2, score lines. And then I put the paper on the mat, feed it through the Cricut, cut the first layer out normally, then I make my mini, and I'm using a Cricut mini. I make my pressure, I put it a pressure of 2 and a blade of 1, and do the score lines then. And even though it's still cutting a little bit because it's such sturdy paper, the cut is just only going to bend it. See, so it gives me my score lines right there. And then I do the same for this one. So I have my 2 sheets here, and I have some score tape, and this is from Score Pal, for the 1/4 inch score tape. And I'm going to go ahead and put it all together. What I first do is, and this one never cuts through entirely, so you kind of have to do this. I follow what my blade did, the little cutting. It's not really cutting, but, well, I guess it is. And I follow it, and I bend my box this way. Oops, that's not even a bend. Okay, but see, this paper is so great that you're not going to be able to see that. And here's the next one. Okay, so I bend my first part. This is my second part of my box. And if you don't have a Cricut, you can probably get a, I know you can get something similar using the Cameo store, or you could also look online for some patterns and cut it out by hand. Okay, so now that I kind of have my box somewhat folded in, I'm going to go ahead and give it texture. I love giving boxes texture. It's one of the things that people really notice. And if you look at the box, this is going to be the top, this is going to be the back part, and this is going to be the front. So I'm most likely going to emboss all of this with my Cuttlebug. Okay, so I ran both pieces through my Cuttlebug, and I ran the whole 2 of these sides through it using the Swiss Dots embossing folder. And now we're ready to assemble. And to be honest, I don't have a rhyme, or I don't have a real good method of putting boxes together. I just typically pull my file up and try to follow the instructions along. Okay, this is on page 8 of the instructions booklet, so I'm going to go ahead and follow these instructions. I'll put it in fast forward, but in a slower fast forward, just so you can kind of see what I'm doing. finished box, as you can see, it's really cute. It's really sturdy. You can play with it, you can fold it. And this is probably one of the reasons why I try to use a little bit better paper when I'm making boxes, because they're supposed to be not only, especially paper boxes that you've put so much work into them, you want to make them functional. You want to make them into a keepsake that people can put in on their desk or at their home. And for these ones, which is really a recipe box, if you really do choose to hold recipes in them, or if you are like I was doing, I used them to hold personalized gift cards or personalized note cards. You want them for people to be able to open and close, and for this paper not to give out. So the sturdier you make them, the better. Something that I would probably do to help this box be even sturdier is here where it's going to probably get the most wear and tear. I would put either a ribbon or something that would help keep it together and reinforce it. But as you can see, it's a simple yet really cute box. You make a lot of use out of this, and not only for paper projects, so like I said, to keep mementos, or even as a party favor. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was easy enough to understand of how to make the box. Really, all I was doing was following the instructions that Cricut puts together for them. And like I said, I typically recommend, if this is your first time making it, do it on a piece of cardstock that you want to get rid of first. Play with it there so you can understand the logistics, the mechanics of the box, and then you can tear that one apart, and then with this nicer paper you'd have your finished box that you could give to someone. If there are any questions or any suggestions, like I said earlier, on the cardstock, please feel free to leave a comment on the YouTube video, my blog, or the Scrapbook Blessings blog. Also, don't forget that this weekend we're having the kickoff party. There's a lot of paper goodies that will be given out. I'll be having a giveaway at my blog in conjunction with the Scrapbook Blessings blog, so don't forget to follow both of us at the different blogs too, and all the other great design team members that are putting all of these great projects for you every week together. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.